Assalamu alaikum. We can move forward the difference between the prepositions and sentence. That is our we are going to discuss in detail here. The first point is when we assert some prepositions, we do so using a sentence in some language. Here is a more important thing is a some language. For example, the language may be a Urdu, may be a English, may be a Arabic. Again, we can say that the words can be in different form, the sentence structures may be a different, but the main claim to be declarative overall give the same meaning of two different sentences. That means the prepositions will be the same. We can explain it by this example. Here we can read here. However, the preposition we assert is not identical to that sentence. That is a point. That means and that means if you read later, listen to this example. For example, the active sentence is Mr. Ali and Leslie won the election. That is a declarative statement. Why this candidate won the elections? Because of the majority of the people vote that candidate, so he or she won the elections. Again, if we paraphrase this sentence in passive voice, here we can say that the election was won by Leslie. The election was won by Mr. Ali. Here we can see that thus the words are differently arranged in these two sentences, but the claim is the same. What is the claim? Leslie won the election. That is a claim. So here we can see that that is a language that is a English language. So the claim is the same. Declarative statement is this is the implied meaning of the both are the same. So there is a that we can see that here again. However, the prepositions we assert is not identical to that sentence. That is a this. This evident because the two different sentences consisting of different words, here we can see that differently arranged and may have the same meaning and may be used to assert the very same prepositions. These are the points we are actually try to understand by a game by this example, and hopefully you can understand this. So we conclude that preposition is a term. Again, we can say that preposition is a term. Term, what does it mean? That is a technical term that has a specific characteristics or specific properties. What is this? Again, it is a declarative sentence. That is a thing. Declarative sentence. Again, we can see that are typically used to assert. Used to assert if this statement, these sentences that can be used to our claim is true or false. So that is used to assert if we are right or wrong. So that is a main purpose of the preposition. Preposition is a sentence that is a declarative and typically to use to assert some point. So hence the implication of this distinguish, we can here see that that's the difference between the sentence and the prepositions. There is a 3 to 4 main points based on which we can differentiate between them. Number one is a truth and meanings are tied to preposition, not just the words. Again, we can see that is an important thing. The truth and the meaning are tied. Here we can see that Leslie won the election. That is a claim. These are not only the words, but there is a claim. Leslie has won the elections. But above, in our previous lectures, we see that the command, the exclamation words, sentences, only these are, and the questions form. Do you know how to play hockey? So these sentence questions come quickly. A command. These sentences we discuss in our first lecture. Here we can see that these sentences have no declarative sentences. So here we can see that the truth and meanings are tied to the prepositions. The statement that pertain the truth and meaning to its contents. They may be implied, or they may be in they may be in an explicit form. So we can see that with the example. When we ask, is that true? We are asking about the preposition, not the specific sentence. For example, the truth of the snow is white. Here we can see that the snow is white. All we know that ice has a white color. Color. So the if someone say that the snow is black, so you can say that, is it that true? Definitely not true. We can see that the snow is a white until any color is added to change this natural color from white to black or blue or yellow. Does not change if you say it in English or French. Again we said see that the language, the main role of the language is also important in the statement of the prepositions. We said that if we can see that the snow is white, if we can use in any this sentence in English or French, but the claim remains the same. The words can be changed from English to French, French to Arabic, Arabic to Urdu. For example, snow is white. मैं यहाँ कहता हूँ कि बर्फ़ का रंग जो है वो सफ़ेद होता है, तो English to Urdu, Urdu to English, the claim remains the same. Here we can say that the words can be changed, the structures of the words can be changed, the arrangement of the words can be arranged, but the main claim remains the same. So this is a first point of the prepositions accurately reflect reality or does not regardless of the language used to express it. So again we can hear that the language, whatever the language we are going to use to explain our prepositions, so that remains the same. Number two, the possibility of the translation. This distinguishes what makes the translation possible. That is a thing. A good translator, that this part is important. For example, if someone is claim in Urdu and the other person translate into in English, but the translation is the simple but not translated as to show the claim that was made in Urdu language, but the translator did not care for that, and the overall the translation sentence do not give any declarative words, declarative sentence, true or false, any claim that can be true or false. So there is a most important thing when you translate from one language to another language any sentence of the prepositions, that should keep in mind the preposition claim should be mentioned there. Again we read this, the distinguishes that what makes translation possible. A good translator is not just swapping words. अगेन यू कैन सी दैट ट्रांसलेटर, जो अच्छा ट्रांसलेटर है उसको ये नहीं चाहिए कि वो सिर्फ वर्ड्स को स्वैपिंग करे, उनको मीनिंग में दे दे, आपने मीनिंग देखे और उसको लिख दिए, तो दैट इज़ नॉट। जो ओवरऑल जिसे हम कहते हैं ना उर्दू में मफहूम होता है, तो उस मफहूम को, उसके इम्प्लाइड मीनिंग को भी अंडरस्टैंड करते हुए इसको एक्सप्लेन करना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है यहाँ पे. सो दे आर ट्राइंग टू फाइंड अ सेंटेंस इन द टारगेट लैंग्वेज that accurately convey the same preposition that was asserted in the source language. I hopefully this statement, no, you have understand this. Number third, the challenge of the ambiguity. Again, this is again important pillar. You should differentiate between the sentence and the preposition statement. For example, sentence flying planes can be dangerous. ठीक है, we know that. But there are, this is a sentence, but why the flying planes can be dangerous? Again, we see that we can make from from this sentence two prepositions. Number one, the act of piloting an aircraft is dangerous, meaning that the flying planes can be dangerous if the pilot is inexperienced or careless to do his job. Number two preposition, aircraft that are currently in the air are the dangerous. That is our second preposition from this sentence. So we can here see that the flying planes can be dangerous. That is our main sentence. But we claim two prepositions here from this sentence. You can make other preposition from this statement, but be careful. The prepositions should be a declarative statement and subject to be a to prove or to assert it is a true or false. That should be a most important. Again, we move ahead. Number fourth, the role of the context is the role of the context, that is a pragmatics. This means that the same sentence can also be used to assert different prepositions depending on the context. That this is studies in the pragmatic, जिसको आप उर्दू में कहते हैं ना जू मैनी के भी सिचुएशन क्या है, टाइम क्या है, ठीक है. तो कंटेक्स्ट के अंदर, कंटेक्स्ट का मतलब इसको हम कह सकते हैं सियाको सपाक के अंदर देखा जाएगा. अगर कोई स्टेटमेंट है तो उसको उसके सियाको सपाक के अंदर, उसके सराउंडिंग्स के अंदर क्या चल रहा है, वो टाइम क्या था, वो इवेंट क्या था, तो उसके ऊपर आप उसको प्रेपोजिशंस को आप क्या कर रहे होते हैं, असर्ट करने की कोशिश कर रहे होते हैं. तो दैट इज आर रोल ऑफ द कंटेक्स्ट. अगेन वी कैन सी दैट a sentence I am ready. Okay, that is a I am ready. But what does it means? If said by a student with the pencil in hand at the start of an exam, the preposition is I am ready to begin the test. Again, if thus I am ready, if any students in the examination hall say that I am ready, so that means that this is our preposition. I am ready, that is a sentence. But again, the contents is a examination hall. The students are there and they have a pencil, their other stationery, paper sheets before them, and they say that we are ready. So said with this data, the students are ready to do their test. Again, we can see that I am ready if it is said by a person with their coat on at the front door, the preposition is I am ready to leave the house. For example, when you leave your home to come to university, eh, at your door with your within your uniform and carry your college or university bag, and you say that I am ready, so that means you are ready to leave the house to university, to your college. So that is a point. The here you can betterly understand the role of the contents. The sentence is I am ready. If it is said by the student in examination hall, the what the preposition should be. If the same sentence is say by any person who is leaving his house, so that is the preposition. So we can see that the sentence is the same, but the asserted preposition is different. I think that these statements you betterly understand why what we can see here in the sense of the context, that is a pragmatics. For example, we have the second example here. For for example, the sentence, the largest state in the United States was once as independent republic, दैट इज़ अ पास्ट सेंटेंस कि किसी ज़माने के अंदर ये कहा जा रहा है कि अमेरिका की सबसे बड़ी जो इंडिपेंडेंट रिपब्लिक स्टेट थी वो कौन सी थी। तो हम इसमें कह सकते हैं कि वन एक्सप्रेस्ड अ ट्रू स्टेटमेंट और प्रीपोजिशन अबाउट टेक्सास। टेक्सास जो है वो कह सकते थे कि वो कहता है कि वो ट्रू स्टेटमेंट होगी, प्रीपोजिशंस होगी कि वो टेक्सास का रीजन था। बट इफ असर्टेड टुडे, अगर आज की डेट के अंदर हम देखेंगे कि क्या है, तो टेक्सास को अगर हम कहेंगे कि ये इंडिपेंडेंट रिपब्लिक स्टेट है तो ये फॉल्स स्टेटमेंट हो जाएगी। ठीक है, और वो क्या, फॉल्स स्टेटमेंट और प्रीपोजिशंस अबाउट अलास्का के बारे में आ जाएगी। द सेम वर्ड्स असर्ट डिफरेंट प्रीपोजिशंस एट डिफरेंट टाइम्स। तो दैट इज अ थिंग कि you can say that there is a time when the Muslims ruled the world. But again, that is a true. If we move 200 years before, yeah, 300 years before, we can see the regime of the Sultanate Usmania. But now we see that this statement is a false in today's scenario. So the time can change our prepositions and the assertance. So this is a main point. Again, and the third point is, here we can see that the difference between statement and the preposition. Again, we can see that the sentence, first we discuss the sentence and the preposition. We can see here that the sentence, a statement and the preposition. Statement definition: a preposition what is a typically asserted by a declarative sentence. So we can see that we have already discussed in detail the preposition should be a declarative sentence, say with the condition that it can be true or false, but not the sentence itself. The sentence have only simple statement. Here in our first lecture we see that question sentence, command sentence and exclamation sentence. Some sentences do not claim any declarative statement. So every statement must be either true or false. So that is the second point. This statement that can be a true or false, that will become the preposition, although the truth or the false of a given statement may be unknown. We already discussed in our early this lecture in this point. Keep in mind that term statement is not an exact synonym of the preposition. If you can see that this is my statement or this is my prepositions, you should be very careful. They are not the same meaning. They are not synonym for each other. So it is often used in the logic in much the same sense. Some logicians prefer statement to preposition. We can see that in the field of the logic, in the discipline of the logic, some logicians take the same sense, but the some logicians prefer statement to the preposition. Again, that is our second group of the logicians. Some logicians use the preposition term rather than the statement, although later that means the preposition word. Here is a preposition, the later here means the preposition word has more commonly used in the history of the logic. Why the second type of the logicians use the preposition word rather than the statement word? Because the history of the logic mainly use this word preposition, so they prefer this word. The other logicians eschew meaning avoid. Other logicians avoid both terms. For example, the third group of the logicians you cannot do not like to use statement word or prepositions word, but they prefer to use this only one word, that is a term sentence. The third type of the logicians prefer to use the the sentence that can be prepositions or not. If the sentence have a declarative and subject to be uh, prove to be true or false, so that will be a prepositions, otherwise a general sentence. So the concept of a preposition is seen by many as making a useful distinction between the sentence and what the sentence asserts. Okay, I think that will be clear, hopefully. The types of the preposition: simple. We have in detail discussed the above the all the examples in our first lecture and our in this lecture. So they are the simple, like those used in the previous example. All the example we have provided in this lecture is a form of the simple prepositions, but the some prepositions are the compound. That means some prepositions containing more than one prepositions within themselves, containing other prepositions within themselves. A statement, a sentence that containing more than one prepositions within them, we can say that these are compound prepositions. For example, the Amazon basin produces roughly 20% of the earth oxygen, creates much of its own rainfall, and harbors many unknown species. अमेज़ॉन जो है ये एक जंग अमेज़ॉन वो कंपनी नहीं है जो आप समझते हैं, ये एक रीजन है, दुनिया का बिगेस्ट जंगल है, ठीक है। तो इसके बारे में ये कहा जा रहा है कि द अमेज़ॉन बेसन प्रोड्यूस रफली 20% ऑफ द अर्थ ऑक्सीजन. वी कंसीडर दैट दिस सेंटेंस द क्लेम नंबर 1, 20% ऑफ द अर्थ ऑक्सीजन, दुनिया के अंदर जितनी भी ऑक्सीजन प्रोड्यूस हो रही है 20% अमेज़ॉन के जंगलात से आ रही है. दैट इज द फर्स्ट क्लेम. This sentence asserts the first claim is a 20%. The second claim creates much of its own rainfall. इसी के जो जंगलात हैं इसी के लिए ही जो है बारिश का सबब बन रहे हैं, ज़्यादातर ये बारिश अपने लिए खुद प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं. थर्ड दैट इज आवर सेकंड क्लेम. अगेन वी कैन से हाइपर्स मैनी अननोन द स्पेशीज. तो इसके अंदर जो पानी है या इसके अंदर जो भी जिसको हम कह सकते हैं इंसेक्ट्स हैं या एनिमल्स हैं, चाहे वो पानी के अंदर हैं चाहे वो ज़मीन के अंदर हैं, तो ये जो अमेज़ॉन बेसन है या अमेज़ॉन की जो रीजन है ये अभी तक टोटली एक्सप्लोर नहीं किया गया. तो इसके बहुत से पार्ट जो हैं अभी वो अनएक्सप्लोर्ड हैं. तो वहाँ पे क्या क्या चीज़ पाई जाती है, क्या क्या चीज़ नहीं पाई जाती, वो अभी तक हम इस दुनिया से अननोन है. तो डेट इज़ अ third point. So you can see that there are this sentence have three claims. Number 1, 20% of the earth's oxygen. Number 2, creates the much of its own rainfall, and number 3 is this. So this statement this sentence and this statement has the three claim. So these types of the prepositions can be is a compound statement. So inshallah in our next lecture we will discuss the other types of the prepositions. So here our lecture is ended. Thank you.